Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be working on installing some 6-inch recessed lighting in my master bedroom closet. Alright, so there's a few things really we want to take into consideration before we get started here. The first and probably the most important being the size of the area that we're working in. So a larger area you might want 6-inch can lights, whereas a smaller area you might want more directional lighting, and you go with 4-inch can lights. But once we've determined our width and our length, really that's when we can really start to identify our placement and our size of lights. Now there's some good calculators online that you can just go in and say, all right, this is the size and the width of my room, or the length and the width of my room, and this is the size can light I'm going to use, and it'll kind of lay them out for you. I like to kind of go off my own rule, basically, which is so if you're using it, basically it's the size of the light in feet, right? So I like to space mine, if it's a 6-inch light, I'm going to space it about 6 foot apart. If it's a 4-inch light, I'm going to space it about 4 inches apart. Now, I've seen some other people that do it that say, okay, we're going to go off the ceiling, we're going to divide that ceiling height divided by 2, so if it's maybe an 8-foot ceiling, we're going to put them 4 inches apart. It really, to me, I just prefer the other direction. If you have other thoughts and you like to do it the other way, or have a different way of doing it, definitely let me know in the comment section below. But that's kind of the way I go with. Alright, so the next thing I need to consider is where I'm installing these. Now, I'm installing these in a second floor closet that I know has an insulated ceiling. Now, the reason that's important is because these need to be IC rated. And they need to be IC rated so that they can touch insulation. If they're not, they could overheat, and it requires that they have at least 3-inch spacing between the fixture and the housing and the insulation. So I would suggest anytime you're doing an insulated ceiling, go ahead and get IC rated. Now, there's different models of these. I've seen these thinner. I've seen the thin ones, I believe, are IC rated. I've never used them. If you have any thoughts and comments on them and they work out all right in insulated ceilings, make sure you let me know in the comment section below. Like I said, I've never installed them. I might have to at some point and see how they work out. But that's another thing to consider. All right, so the next important piece of this is that we are installing this in a closet. Now, different areas have different code, and you want to make sure you follow your local code first. There might be some additions to the NEC, but for me, I'm going off what's in the NEC right now, and the important thing for me is that a recessed light needs to be at least 6 inches from any storage location, and a surface mounted light needs to be at least 12 inches from any storage location. So that means if you have a shelf on there, you need to be at least 6 inches out from that shelf for recessed, and at least 12 inches out for a surface mount. Now I'm replacing surface mount, so I know I'm at least 6 inches, and I'm also putting these in the middle of the closet versus closer to the shelf or closer to the clothes or anything like that. So I know I'm within those restrictions, and I know I'm within code. But really, that's pretty much a lot of what you need to consider. If there's something I missed, make sure you let me know in the comment section below. Again, I'm not a professional electrician by any means, just a DIYer like the rest of you. So make sure you let me know, and let's get to it. All right, so here's a quick rundown of my layout here. Total closet length is 234 inches. Total closet width is 58 inches. So 29 is my center line. I'm going to go 45 inches off each wall for those first outside lights. And then my center will be at 117. I've got a switch right here. I'm only doing one switch. This isn't like a 3-way or anything. Just one switch. From here, I'll move that to the inside of the closet. I'll run that to this light, and then I'm going to daisy chain down. Now, there's currently only 2 lights there, so I'm hoping I don't have to add wire, but if I do, I'll find out when I get up there. Alright, so now that we have our rough layout done, we can go ahead and start and get ready to actually cut the holes in the ceiling. Before we do that though, we want to identify where our ceiling joists are. And the reason for that is the last thing we want to do is if our ceiling joist is right here and we tried to cut a hole here, we're going to end up having to move it and then we're going to have to come back and patch it, and we don't want to do that. So one, you can take your stud finder here and just run it along, and that will tell you where your ceiling joist is here if it's close to your holes. Your other option, and this I actually learned from a buddy on YouTube, is you take these marker flags here, and these you can just pick up at your local hardware store usually, and you just go on your hole here and you just push that up in there like that. You got a hole there. Alright, so as you can see, I'm pretty glad I checked everything out. I actually hit every spot I was going to put a light. I actually was about 2 inches from a ceiling joist. So I need to shift everything to the right, and I found that's the easiest way to do it and still maintain my 6 foot distancing. It's going to make some adjustments on the edges close to the wall, but I don't think that's a big deal. There's probably better ways to lay this out. If you got other ideas, please, and other thoughts on it, make sure you let me know in the comment section. But like I said, all I need to do now is shift everything 4 inches to the right, and that'll still give me all the spacing I need, and I should be good to go. So now we can go ahead and start cutting our holes. Alright, so to cut our holes, we're just going to be using the Klein tool with dust collection. I'll put a link to it below. It's adjustable. You can adjust the sides here to whatever size hole you need. It comes with a couple of these plastic things, and you'll see by the washers. Just don't throw them out. Pretty easy to set together. Just put that on there like that, and then grab your chuck, tighten it down, and then when you cut, you'll hold that down. Alright, so next I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the current lights from the switch. Now you want to make sure you shut your power off to the lights before doing this. So the reason I'm disconnecting the wiring from the switch to the current light is because I'm planning to reuse the wiring for the first light in the new circuit. I'm doing this mainly just to avoid having to rerun wiring down to the switch again. Alright, so next we're just going to go ahead and wire up our first light in the circuit, which is going to be lamp A. Now this lamp has two connections. It's connected to the switch, as well as it's connected to the next light in the daisy chain, which is going to be lamp B. Now the wiring for this is actually pretty simple. It's just going to be white to white, black to black, and ground to ground. And that's going to be the same for the wiring to the switch and to lamp B in the circuit. Alright, so next we're going to move on to lamp B, which is going to be the second light in our circuit. Now lamp B, like lamp A, will also have two connections. The first connection will be to lamp A and the second connection will be to lamp C. This wiring will be the same as it was in lamp A. It will be white to white, black to black, and ground to ground. And that will be the same for the wiring to lamp A and to lamp C. All right, next we're going to go ahead and install lamp C, which is going to be the last light in our circuit. Now this lamp will only have one connection, and that's going to be the connection to light B. The wiring, though, is the same. It's going to be white to white, black to black, and ground to ground. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is install our trim. Now this trim specifically has little hooks on it here that are actually going to go up in these little spots right here, and that's how it will hook in. Now there's other styles that might hook in on the sides here. You can also, if when you set the light bulb in, it's not all the way down here, you can also adjust this thing down. I'm going to leave it as is for right now, and once I set it, if I want more light, I can always adjust it later. But I'm going to go ahead and try to put this trim in. Alright guys, and that's pretty much all there is to it. It's pretty quick, pretty easy. You can definitely try out the thinner ones if you want to. They might even go quicker than those. But it's not a really difficult job. Definitely it's something a DIYer can do versus calling an electrician and spending $500 or $600. Alright, so the next part of this project is actually going to be to move the switch from the bedroom to inside the closet. That will be my next video, and I'll link to it at the end of this video, as well as I'll put a link in the description. But in that video I'm going to go over how to install a remodel box and how to wire up the switch properly. Alright guys, thanks for watching. As always, if you're not already a subscriber, make sure you click that link below and become one. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button and help us out with the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you have any thoughts or things you'd like to see us do in the future, make sure you let us know in the comment section below. And as always, we'll catch you on the next one.